Warning: the contents of tonight's program may include strong language, which may not be suitable for young audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Around the Ropes radio show. Here are your hosts, John, Ray, Jay, and featuring Wilson's Corner with Kevin Wilson.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the Other Ropes Radio Show. You guys know who I am. Let me send up to Boston. I would say, Ray, are you now in winter, spring, fall? Where are we now?
So this is second fake spring.
Okay.
We are currently in second fake spring up here in Boston, and that is why I absolutely fucking hate it here. But I'll never leave. John, I have a quick question. Do we air the show on any other night other than a Tuesday?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. Just making sure.
Nope. I mean, it's been talked about. But here's the other thing I forgot to mention. We are live tonight from the Simply Green Studios. Want to definitely give our sponsors a shout out. Who have been very nice to us these last couple months. And also, guys, coming up in May, Around the Ropes, we'll be live from the Simply Greens store out in Coram for Backlash. You're not going to want to miss that.
Right. Absolutely. That's going to be fun stuff. And, I just want to say right now, I know that NXT has just started, but to see the reaction that Mike Santana gets from the WWE crowd, and especially in his hometown, New York at MSG, I'm telling you, it's only going to be a matter of time before you see him in a WWE ring. Jay, how are you?
I'm enjoying the 80-degree weather in New York City today, baby. Ooh, I love it. I love it. And look who it is. It's the birthday boy, Mr. John Lee. How are you, my friend?
Happy Monday Night Raw at the world's most famous arena. The house WWF built.
Yes, I will. We'll definitely get into that later on because it was an experience last night being in that building. And
I said I am sure that it was.
And I'll tell you right now, there were certain segments last night that if it came off kind of dead on TV, they were kind of dead in the crowd as well.
Fantastic. David John Reynolds already popping in from the UK saying, yes, fellas, I'm finally in syncs. Our clocks here have finally gone forward, so I'm on the timer tonight.
David, I'm glad to
see you. Dave, we appreciate it.
But, no, my birthday was good. I'm glad. I got a few nice things. I got 2 Funko Pops.
Nice.
Of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and a chase of Razor Ramon.
Wow.
And I also have, And
that is an original Ricky the Dragon Steamboat LJN.
Yeah, well, you have to mention that because, we do have the audio set as well. So people who are seeing this may not, may not be able to see it. But, no, what I was just going to mention was I also got, if you guys know how the VIP experience sometimes, and they give you a piece of the canvas.
Yeah.
I also have a piece of the canvas stuff from SmackDown.
Nice. I would have taken a piece of the announcement table after CM Punk put Roman Reigns through it. How pumped were you for that, John? Are you fully invested? Are you even more invested than you were before?
He's invested.
We're going to do this again. In certain matches, yes. No, in particular, I will say there's one match in particular. Olba and Brock.
Bro, that low-key is the actual main event for WrestleMania.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. But we got one more comment coming in here from Joseph saying, is Steph the one talking to Randy? Joseph, we will get into that in a bit.
That's a good point.
That is a very valid point. I will tell you one thing. seeing her last night at Raw was definitely a shock.
Mm-hmm.
Except not really, though, because she does live in Stamford, so it is only like an hour car ride.
Right. But the fact that she was still, made an appearance. It was also even though we know that he's always there, I was shocked when Triple H came out for the pull apart between Brock and Oba.
Yes.
When do you have the head of creative, involved in a pull apart? Now, you knew as soon as I saw him there, you knew nothing physical was going to happen due to his heart condition. So you didn't have to worry about that.
No, we'll get into that a little bit later. Also, Greek Savage is in the chat tonight. The only thing the only smart thing John Glenn has ever said. Thank you, Greek. I will take that as a compliment.
Greek Savage.
But guys, like I said, we got a lot to get to tonight. Obviously, we're coming off the heels of a Raw that, personally, to me, had a very strong beginning, but a very anticlimactic ending. I'll get into that. Obviously, get into the Oba Brock segment as well.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about being at the Garden and everything. Obviously, we got TNA Sacrifice we want to get to, especially with the main event, Macklin and Santana. We have to. I know a couple weeks ago we spoke about the bad side of
OVW.
No, with OVW. Yeah, with OVW, we actually have to give props now. We'll get into that as well, and so much more. But guys, we've been teasing this now for the better part of a couple of days, and obviously you guys know the announcement. And we actually have very special guys. Obviously, as you guys saw before, Luke Roberts, who is the media coordinator for the Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame in St. Louis, Missouri, is going to be on with us in a few minutes here. But you guys are probably wondering why. What's all the hype? Well, before we get any further,
do you have a big announcement, John?
Yes, I do. Before we get any further, I do have a video I like to play, and I'm going to play this a little bit differently, so hopefully this doesn't get screwed up. But guys, if you would please take a look at the video.
St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame.
All right. So, want to play that? They're going to be having their induction ceremony this summer, actually. And to talk all about it, and obviously for the announcement as well, we want to introduce to you guys for the first time on the Around the Ropes radio show. He is the media coordinator, Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame, based in St. Louis, Missouri. Well, welcome to the show, the one and only Luke Roberts. Luke, thank you so much for giving us some time tonight. I appreciate it, my friend.
Hey, it's a great time to be here on Around the Ropes, the podcast here this evening, the Around the Ropes radio show. And gentlemen, I got to tell you right now, I'm going to say right now, first of all, Boston, yes, you guys are in your second somewhat spring. I think we're in about summer part 4 here in St. Louis. I get where you're coming from 100%. But again, it's an honor and a privilege to be here on the program tonight. And I'm going to tell you, being on the other side of the big announcement, being on the other side of the discussion here this evening has been something that not just myself, but all of the members of the board of directors, all the way from our executive director, big time Jim Harris, all the way down to, I mean, again, you name it on the board. You talk about our governance secretary, you talk about our treasurer, you talk about our members at large, our historian, you name it. Everybody has been chomping at the bit to be able to make this announcement tonight here on the program. And I'm going to tell you right now, gentlemen, just give you an idea here, and I showed a little bit earlier on, 2025 inductee. I don't know if the resemblance looks right or not, but when it comes down to it, tonight we got a big announcement, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be, and I agree 100% with John, and this is, I almost want to say this is his birthday announcement, because when it comes down to it, this is a major, major, major announcement. And I'm going to tell you right now, it is my honor and privilege to be here. And John, I'm just going to throw it to you, my friend. Right now, as we look at things right now, I know you've wanted to talk about this for days. And I know for a fact we're going to talk a little bit about the inductees here just a little bit. And we might have a few more surprises here tonight on Around the Ropes. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and throw things to you because you're the man with the big announcement. I know that your co-hosts know what's up, but let's let all the viewers here of Around the Ropes know what the big announcement is.
Thank you, Luke. I appreciate that. Now, you guys have been a part of the show. You guys know, especially like Ray, you know, you were part of the show from the beginning. And you've seen where the show started to where it's come to now.
The evolution. Absolutely.
And I always joke here, you know, about how we have announcements. And a lot of times, you know, they're simple little things. But when this got put together, Luke is right. I have been literally chomping at the bit to put this out there. And guys, without further ado, I can now officially announce that the Around the Ropes radio show is the official media partner of the Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame in St. Louis, Missouri. Guys, it's right there.
That is amazing. That is huge. The official media partner, that is wow.
Right now, gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to look at how official this is, it's just like the Hall of Fame. And I got another little piece of things here, right here in my hands. The Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame Championship belt that's on display as a part of the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. And gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now, when you look at some of the names that have already been inducted into the Hall of Fame, you've got a lot of local competitors, but you also have a lot of people that are known on the national level. For those that aren't familiar, one of our inductees is the legendary Herb Smith. He is the promoter, or especially Herb Simmons. I apologize. I was thinking about another family here. But Herb Simmons, nearing 50 years in the wrestling industry. He is the promoter of SICW. He's heavily affiliated with the Cauliflower Alley Club. He's heavily affiliated with the Tragos Thez Hall of Fame. When you look at those particular credentials in themselves, that's big enough. But when you talk about pro wrestlers, you talk about people in the Midwestern area, the likes of a Human Wrecking Ball Pete Madden. I'll tell you right now, for anybody watching this program, if you've never had a chance to check out the Human Wrecking Ball Pete Madden, I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of people say, oh, you can wrestle with anybody and make a match look good. This man actually had a match with a tree, and the crowd was cheering for both Pete Madden and the tree. But not only do you have those inductees, but you have the likes in the class of 2026, or 2025, you had the likes of myself, Jeremy Lightfoot. You had the likes of Sadie Blaze, who's known here in the Midwest as Makazi. And last year, we had Mischief, for those that are familiar around the world. Mischief, accomplished professional wrestler all across the world, started here in the St. Louis area as a part of Gateway Championship Wrestling. And I'm going to tell you right now, from top to bottom, the class of 2026 is going to be an outstanding class. And to have you guys on board as a media partner, an official media partner of the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, it's an honor and a privilege myself to be a part of the Around the Ropes family. And I want to tell you right now, and John, I know we didn't talk about this earlier on, but I'm going to go ahead and add another major announcement right here on the program. In the coming weeks, it is our intent and goal to have multiple members of the class of 2026 right here on Around the Ropes. For those that want to know about professional wrestling, you talk about Monday Night Raw, you talk about John's birthday, you talk about the brand new tag team champions, among other things. But where else can you go to get your local, your national, your international pro wrestling knowledge right here? And gentlemen, I couldn't be more excited. Like I said, we're going to have that ceremony in July here in St. Louis. And to give you an idea, last year, you say, oh, well, it's an independent Hall of Fame. We had SRO of nearly 200 people for last year's induction ceremony. And when you talk about professional wrestling and you talk about the names that have gone through the St. Louis area, you go all the way back to the days of the Sam Muchnicks and the Larry Matisics, and you make your way through. And again, there are so many great promotions when you talk about St. Louis. You talk about MMWA, you talk about SICW, you talk about Dynamo Pro Wrestling, you talk about St. Louis Anarchy. Glory Pro has been making a huge statement as of late. CHWA. I could go on and on and on, SICW, among others. There are so many great promotions that continue the proud lineage of St. Louis independent wrestling. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Around the Ropes podcast, now officially the official media partner of the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Love it.
Wow. I am as John, and to have both of us at a loss for words is incredibly rare. To have some of the inductees for the class of 2026 joining us on the show throughout the time waiting for the induction ceremony is fantastic. And I want to go back and touch on one thing that you may have that you said, Luke, when you were talking about how people might be like, oh, well, it's just the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, right? It only has to deal with independence. People don't realize that people like Bob Orton Sr., J.J. Dillon, Jerry Briscoe, like names like that have come through, St. Louis and the Missouri area through the Hall of Fame. And I think that is something that needs to be talked about more, just so that people can understand the history and, just exactly how big of a deal you guys are.
And I thank you for that. I mean, when you sit back and you look at, a lot of people talked about how, and I can go into countless names, like the likes of a Ric Flair, like the Von Erich family, like a Dusty Rhodes, like a Harley Race, who said, if you had made it to St. Louis, you had made it in the world of professional wrestling. But in the last 20 to 25 years, I mean, there have been countless names in the St. Louis independent scene that have gone on to compete across the globe. You've got the likes of Mischief, Daisy Hayes, Matt Seidel, Delirious, a gentleman by the name of Dirty Jake Durden, Warhorse has come from the St. Louis area, Savannah Stone, the Little Blue Dragon, Tootie Lynn Ramsey, Reign Victoria. You could talk about the fact that Akira Tozawa spent time here in the St. Louis area. And I mean, again, from top to bottom, professional wrestling right now is having another almost attitude era size revival in pro wrestling. And when it comes down to it, and being able to recognize those that are going into the Hall of Fame this year. And again, when you look at some of the names, you look at the likes of the first man who was in that video, Black Glove Butch Fletcher, a man who in the independent days of pro wrestling, how many wrestlers can say that they've been to multiple different countries as an official and as a referee? You've got people like Steve Montana, who parlayed a professional wrestling career into now being a member of the Screen Actors Guild. You look at wrestlers like The Beast, who spent the better part of 30-plus years in the professional wrestling industry. The late Marcus Mansfield, who started multiple promotions. And as an extra added bonus, if you go back and you listen to the WWE Hall of Fame induction speech of one Kane, he is mentioned in his Hall of Fame speech, being true to his St. Louis roots. And again, when you look at those wrestlers, you look at the likes of Tom Simon, who's been all around the country and with professional wrestling. You've got likes of Johnny Ramirez, longtime official here in the St. Louis area. You've got the valedictorian Keon Option, both of the last two gentlemen receiving President's Awards for their contribution in the world of professional wrestling. And the last one, Big Bad Ben, a man, if we don't mention about professional wrestling and starting the company known as Gateway Championship Wrestling, you don't have Matt Seidel, Delirious, Daisy Hayes, and Mischief, along with the likes of Dingo. From top to bottom, it's a great class. And to have the Around the Ropes podcast and the Around the Ropes radio show being involved with the Hall of Fame ceremony this year and being involved with us is a huge step in the right direction. And gentlemen, it's an honor and a privilege to be here, but now it's official to say it's great to be media partners with your program.
I appreciate that a lot. That means a lot. But one thing also just to mention as well is, yes, we talk about the St. Louis area, but if you look at independent wrestling anywhere, if it wasn't for independent wrestling as a whole, you wouldn't have your WWEs, your AEWs, your TNAs. A lot of the wrestlers that we see on TV now started off on the independent scene. And look, that's one thing we talk about on the show, I feel like religiously, is you have the opportunity to go to an independent wrestling show. Yeah, you may not know all the guys, but you may not, you could be seeing the next, a future main eventer for a big promotion. So I think talking about independent wrestling, I feel like should be talked about more, and especially with us, we talk about it as much as we can. But we also talk about, we talk about the good, but we also talk about the bad as well, because you see it from both sides. But it's, like I said, it's an honor that you would even consider us to be a part of what you guys are doing.
And again, guys, this was really a no-brainer with us. I mean, again, since day one of talking with your show, I mean, you guys have a very established track record. And again, I'm a level with you. True story. I've been on the East Coast several times. Actually, when I was a younger kid, when I was late elementary, early middle school, I spent a good deal of time in a little town called Rome, New York. And that was where my late uncle and his wife lived. They lived outside of what was at the time Griffiths Air Force Base. And having the opportunity to be in places like Philadelphia, having been to Baltimore and been to places like upstate New York, hopefully going to be able later this year to make my debut, so to speak, in the great town of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And when it comes down to it, I mean, again, professional wrestling really is great. And when you sit down and you look at the independent level, I mean, one of the companies that I broadcast with regularly here in the St. Louis area, they just had, and again, a lot of companies can't do this. They actually had what was called their King of the Hills Rumble, which is their yearly standard. And they had 30 wrestlers compete in this event. And I want to give a shout out here real quick to two individuals, that being the Anomaly IP Mason and Alexis Valentine, two men who I really feel that are going to be main event players on a national stage in the weeks and months to come. Not only did both men wrestle 12 to 15-minute matches in the first half of the event, but they both went a legitimate 50-plus minutes in the King of the Hills Rumble as well. And again, shout out to the resident historian of professional wrestling here in the St. Louis area, the one, the only Patrick Brandmeier, my broadcast colleague, who actually kept running time. And both those men going 50 minutes plus really gives a statement to how hard wrestlers wrestle each and every time they go out in the ring. And I mean, again, when it comes down to it, the independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame recognizes those wrestlers that put in the time day in, day out to make pro wrestling what it is today.
No, I completely agree with what you're saying. And I'm looking forward to this wholeheartedly. I'm looking forward to, us working with you guys. And obviously, you guys, having the inductees come on our show. it's a completely on it. But Ray or Jay, do you guys have anything else?
I don't. I'm still. I'm still processing the announcement.
Luke,
I just love how everything is coming together. This is great news. I'm excited. But I want to talk about, there's so many St. Louis wrestlers out there, and I'm glad they're being recognized. I mean, this happened, I believe, since 2007, if I'm correct. So, what are the certain criteria a wrestler has to make it to be into this Hall of Fame?
Well, to be in the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, one of the biggest things, and I'm just going to be upfront with you, is the idea that this is not the Terry Funk retirement tour and you retire 19 times in the world of professional wrestling. To be an inductee in the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, you have to be, number one, retired from in-ring competition. We all know, we see wrestlers, oh, I'm retired, and then 3 months later they mysteriously come back, and that's not how we do things. Again, to give you an idea, like for example, in this year's class, when you talk about the Beast just retired back about a year ago, almost to the day. And when he got the call, and again, I might be pulling that curtain back a little much, but a man who I've been in the ring with several times was crying like a baby because he realized that, as Ric Flair said, for all that I've done wrong, I must have done something right. And when you sit there and look at it, and you look at guys like, true story, the inductee, Every Lady's Fantasy, Marcus Mansfield, he actually gave me my first championship match all the way back in 1995. And yeah, it doesn't look like I'm a day over 25, but he gave me my first chance to wrestle for a championship. And again, going out, creating multiple promotions. That's one of the things there. Butch Fletcher, when I was just about ready to leave, as I say, whenever you think you're done, they pull you right back in. And Butch Fletcher was one of those guys back in 2004 who let me start training wrestlers to be in the industry. And when you look at all these inductees, and a lot of these Hall of Fames are like, it's who you know. That's not the case with our Hall of Fame. You look at the likes, we cover pretty much every promotion in St. Louis, and it really stands out, the different promotions. I mean, right now, looking at the Hall of Fame, you've got inductees from the MMWA, you've got inductees from SICW, from Dynamo Pro, from Gateway Championship Wrestling, from RCW Rampage Championship Wrestling, from CHWA, the Cottage Hills Wrestling Alliance, and more of them are coming year by year. I can tell you right now, our meeting to get down to the final inductees, and again, we only had 8 this year. That final meeting took 4 hours to get down to 8. And that's one of the things when you sit there and look at it. Ben Gennaro, historian, has been around wrestling, I'd say, near 40 years. Myself, near 40 years. Nikki O'Shaughnessy has been a part of the professional wrestling industry for nearing 2 decades. Moondog Rover, a lot of people in the St. Louis area know him. He's been around since before I even got in the wrestling industry. And our executive director, big time Jim Harris, refereed for countless different promotions over the course of the year. And another thing too, gentlemen, when you look at it, there's countless other halls of fame. We all know the story. I've had an opportunity to be at a lot of them. But how many halls of fame can look at things like the idea of having a commissioned, legitimate 5-plate championship belt? And if you notice here, I'm going to see if I can get my camera up here to show you what we're talking about. On the side plates, all the different promotions that you talk about in the St. Louis area, both past and present. How many halls of fame can admit that they've been recognized by the Tragos Thez Hall of Fame? How many Hall of Fames can say that they've been recognized by the Missouri State Athletic Commission? Matter of fact, last year, the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame actually received a proclamation for the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, and every inductee from Mayor Carl Spencer of the city of St. Louis. When it comes down to it, we make sure that the legacy of the independent scene in St. Louis is upheld. And I'm going to tell you right now, in July, we're going to have a great induction ceremony, July 19th. For more information about the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, you can check out our socials, but you can also check us out at istlwhof.com. Not only can you find out information about all of our inductees, but you can also purchase tickets right there on the website. And again, when you sit down and you look at it, the opportunity to have food, good times, and learn about pro wrestling. And last year, I believe there were 8 different promotions in the house for the Hall of Fame. And our goal this year is to hopefully, I believe right now there's 13 on the St. Louis scene. Our goal is to hopefully have a representative from every one of them this year at the Hall of Fame. And with great programs like Around the Ropes, I know that we're going to reach our goal.
Absolutely. With us, anything you guys need help with, you guys know we will help you any way we can between the 3 of us here. But Luke, again, I appreciate you coming on tonight. It meant a lot to finally make this announcement, to have you on to talk about the Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame in St. Louis. Like I said, I can't wait for this to get going. Ray, Jay, one more time, do you guys have anything else?
Would you say that, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, sir, please forgive me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Would you say Larry Matisic was the blueprint to just kind of get this ball going in 2018?
Well, to give you an idea, Larry Matisic and the Wrestling at the Chase Hall of Fame, Larry Matisic, when you talk about foundations of professional wrestling, Larry Matisic is the foundation. He is the blueprint. Again, bear with me just a second here. As a matter of fact, right before we came on live, right here, Drawing Heat the Hard Way by Larry Matisic. You know, I had an opportunity to speak with Larry Matisic right after he came back on the independent scene in the late 90s. And since that point in time, one of my best friends was able to sit under the learning tree of Larry Matisic, Dr. Drew Abenhouse from SICW.
Wow.
And Larry Matisic was one of those individuals that paved the way for so many wrestlers and so many promotions to even be where they are today. I mean, when Sam Muchnick decided to leave the professional wrestling industry and retire and enjoy life, and then you turn around and you have Larry Matisic trying to continue that lineage, and how since that point in time, a lot of what Larry instilled in professional wrestling is often carried out by a Herb Simmons, carried out by wrestlers like the late Tony Costa at South Broadway as a part of the MMWA. And you also look at it from the idea of where you have wrestlers like Handsome Harley Race, who runs WLW. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for some of the conversations between Larry and Sam and Harley Race. I would have absolutely loved to have been a part of that. And like I said, right now, the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame acknowledges the independence of this scene. There are a lot of wrestlers that go into other Hall of Fames, like the Wrestling at the Chase Hall of Fame, which is going to have their next induction, I believe it's in early May. But when you look at the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, we are one of the very few, I'll be honest with you, I would say probably outside of maybe the GCW Independent Hall of Fame and maybe the Women's Wrestling Hall of Fame that Chris Bernay is involved with. There aren't a lot of independent halls of fame. And when it comes down to it, having people like Sam, like Larry, like Herb, like Tony, like Big Jim Harris, like Jim and Crystal Yunt, and countless others are what make pro wrestling tick. And like you said, it's just that lineage. You learn every step of the way. And to the new generations of the business, wrestlers like the wrestlers in CHWA, like IEW, among others, everybody will learn something. It's like the branches of the learning tree. And I'm not using the Chris Jericho phrase, by the way, just if there's any anti-Chris Jericho fans here. But when it comes down to it, when you talk about St. Louis wrestling, you've got to mention Larry Matysik. And again, it's a lot of the things that he brought to the table that led to things like us at the independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. And gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a great experience. And if anybody wants to make that journey, again, it's going to be a great weekend. I know there's a couple promotions that we've already been in communications with about actually doing events the night before the Hall of Fame. I know that the WWE has their 3 weeks before WrestleMania, where everything's located in Vegas for like 15 days. But we're already starting to work at trying to get some things lined out to where hopefully we will be able to have maybe a conjunction with an event the night before the weekend of, so that when it comes down to it, the fans are truly going to get to experience what independent wrestling is. And the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame is always leading that charge.
Luke, again, I appreciate you coming on. I can't wait to see, I can't wait to see how this Hall of Fame. I mean, we know how it's going to pan out. It's going to pan out great, but having the talent on the next couple of months, I can't wait. Again, Luke, thank you so much for hopping on. I appreciate it a lot, my friend.
Not a problem. Like I said, make sure to follow Outside the Ropes, follow on social media, follow them on YouTube. Also, make sure to check out their great sponsor, because I'll tell you right now, without the sponsors, that's one thing. Without the fans, without the viewers, that's another thing. But without these three gentlemen outside or around the ropes, outside of anything professional wrestling, Around the Ropes does not exist without these three men, the hard work they do, and all of the great viewers of Around the Ropes. Gentlemen, it's been an honor and a privilege, and I look forward to being back here with some of our class of 2026 in the days and weeks to come.
I cannot wait. Guys, we'll react to everything right after a quick word from our sponsors and from Simply Green.
At Simply Green, we believe in the power of nature to bring balance, relaxation, and well-being. As a premium THC brand, our mission is to provide high-quality, responsibly sourced products that enhance your lifestyle. Whether you're seeking relaxation, creativity, or wellness support, we curate a selection of top-tier THC to suit your needs. Rooted in trust and transparency, we are committed to delivering safe, lab-tested products while fostering a community that embraces education and responsible use. Simply Green is more than just a brand. It's a movement for a greener, more mindful future. Call 631-846-6060 to order or visit our location in Coram, New York. For use only by adults 21 years of age and older. Keep out of reach of children and pets. Please consume responsibly. Cannabis is not recommended for use by persons who are pregnant or nursing. Concerned about your cannabis use? Contact the New York State HIPAA line by texting HOPE-NY, calling 1-877-8, HOPE-NY, or visiting oasisny.gov/HOPE.
And we are back here live on the Around the Ropes radio show. Jay, I'll talk to you first. Since you're like somewhat new still on the show, reactions, thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think people need to just research St. Louis. St. Louis was, Hall of Fame started 2007, started with Larry Matysik. He got his opportunity through Sam, which Luke Roberts just said. And, he was office, he was publicist, he became a ring announcer, he started the whole thing. And fast forward a few years, we have the Independent St. Louis Hall of Fame. I'm glad that wrestlers independent are getting their recognition. They deserve it. They put in the hard work, just as what we see on TV. And I love it. I love it for the whole sport. I think it's terrific. I think it's fantastic. I think everybody needs to take this blueprint who doesn't have it in their state and make it official, because wrestling is all over, my friends. It is all over, and it is love.
Definitely agree. Ray, obviously I said this while we had Luke on. You've been a part of the show. And you were part of the show in the early days. If you're sitting here now, Could you go back 5 years ago and have even imagined this would have even been a thought?
No, not at all. The way that things were handled by certain people that are no longer affiliated with the show and haven't been affiliated for a long time, the way that all affected for a little while everything that you have gone through in trying to rebuild your brand. And make no mistake, it is your brand. No, I absolutely would not have thought 5 years ago that we would be having this conversation. We would be announcing that we are the official media partner of the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. That we would have had sponsors. You know, I just, it is truly just a reflection of your fortitude, testicular fortitude, if you will, to continue going. And I don't know, Cody Rhodes, turned it into a big phrase when he decided to go and bet on himself. John, you have bet on yourself, and now you are able to reap the rewards.
I appreciate that sentiment. I mean, if you would have told me 5 years ago, sitting, with everything the show has been through, all the hosts that have come and gone, that we'd be in the position we're in now, I could never have imagined it in a million years. And not only that, we have more news coming in the next couple of weeks, but we can't even talk about it yet because the T's haven't been crossed and the I's haven't been dotted yet. So there's more news coming. But just to talk about this one, I mean, this is something, when the idea, I'll pull back the curtain here for a second, then we'll get into Raw and everything else. When this idea was approached to me about working with them, and first of all, I want to there's another person I have to give a shout out to who actually really got the ball rolling on this. And you see him on Facebook a lot, and you see what he does. And I have to find his name now, which would work out even better. On Facebook, he goes by the name of Matt Classic Creed. Okay. He's very big in when it comes to independent wrestling. The story is Luke actually reached out to him about podcasts to work with, and the first one Matt mentioned was us. So I have to thank Matt for even getting the ball rolling.
Shout out to Matt.
Up for it. And I think also what this comes down to realistically is the hard work that we put in every week. None of us get paid for this. I mean, yeah, we have the sponsor, that's all well and good, but we don't get a paycheck every week or every 2 weeks. We do this.
If I got a dime for every paycheck that I got from this show, you know how many dimes I'd have? No dimes.
It's just, even though technically, yes, I knew about this for a while now, the fact that we're finally able to put it out there is absolutely insane. Guys, again, if you missed the announcement, we are now it's been official. We're now the official media partner for the Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame in St. Louis, Missouri. And, yeah.
That is amazing. While we had Luke on, as we normally do with guests, we don't really take the comments because we don't want to take away from our guest. Greek Savage kind of mirrored my point from earlier in the night where he said Ober and Brock feels more like a main event than both main events. That's how you know Mania is a cash grab. Mania has been a cash grab. WWE has been a cash grab ever since they were sold to TKO. Sorry, not sorry. Joseph Morning over in Facebook land said, I didn't like Roman getting beat up when that place where his dad and uncle made famous. I understand the sentiment, Joe, but if anything, that makes it more special as to the fact that happened.
Yeah.
David said that after hearing the list of inductees, he said that is some list. Joseph over on Facebook said, "Hey, does the GM of SmackDown still run shows around there?" I don't know. I listen. If you read the ticker down at the bottom, what is it? It says, "What is the WWE doing 2 weeks before WrestleMania?" And after we read David's last comment, he says, "I always say to today's wrestling fans, as well as being invested in watching the big name promotions, they need to check out the indie circuit too. Independent wrestling paved the way for big promotions. A lot of today's fans don't realize that." And that's true. They don't. And it's such a shame that they don't realize that. To not recognize your AAA league as instrumental into what you see on TV is, quite frankly, disrespectful to the independents. I mean, Ring of Honor would not be where it is, would not have had the notoriety that it had it not been for those stars that participated there when they were independents and then made it to the big screen. So Joseph says, "Hey, I'm just going to be honest. I'm not from where you all are. I'm from Indiana, and I still enjoy your show." Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that, somebody in the Bible Belt is enjoying our show and that they're not offended by our TVMA rating.
We're behaving tonight.
We really are, because that was some crazy
behaving tonight.
Crazy news.
Yeah, but let's shift gears.
In a good way, of course. I don't want to get that misconstrued. That is absolutely crazy in a good way.
Interesting question, actually.
Yeah,
that was just brought to me. Is there a formal
definition of independent wrestling?
Formal definition of independent wrestling?
I don't think that there is. I think it's kind of just been accepted now that if you're not part of the big leagues, the big four, New Japan, AAA, WWE, AEW, we'll throw TNA in there. So the big five, that you're considered an independent wrestling, which makes sense because the whole point of being an independent is being able to work wherever you want, right? And when you are part of those bigger organizations, that doesn't happen. You can't go and work on the indies on a day where your booking is slow, and instead of being catering, you're going to run down to St. Louis.
Independence like a freelancer,
pretty much.
Thank
you for that question. But I want to shift gears here for a second, because obviously, we talk about independent wrestling, and actually there was one quick independent story I want to get to quickly. Did you guys see what happened over the weekend in regards to Krule?
Yes. And did you see what happened to? I saw the video of the backlash of the fan that was when they caught him backstage. And yeah, he got the shit kicked out of him. But somebody brought up in the comments, with the amount of people that were kicking the shit out of him, should he have been able to walk out? Essentially, they were saying that they didn't beat him up good enough. Nobody is trying to catch a case. Just want to throw that out there. What they did was they gave him some good old boys punishment for attacking one of them and being backstage unauthorized. Nobody was trying to catch a case to retaliate for what happened with Krule.
I will say this much, and I don't understand this when it comes to independent wrestling. I actually had a comment, Ray, from actually a good friend of the show, Mr. Ryan Peterson. Who turned around and said, "I agree with Ray on that statement as somebody who has been doing it for almost 15 years. And I want to address the first part about him being backstage, okay? Yep. I want to look at that part for a second, because I actually got to give credit to Fight Factory here for a second. Obviously, Fight Factory just had a show in Ridgewood Park, New Jersey, a couple weeks ago. And the one thing that I have to give them credit for is I heard Dave Sturcio, who's one of the head honchos, turn around and specifically had security guards in front of both the men and women's locker rooms. And basically that said to them, unless you're a talent or an extra, you're not welcomed in the locker room.
I mean, that's the way that it should be. If you're not affiliated with the show in any way, shape, or form, how are you gaining access to the backstage area?
And
that is their piece. Why are you disrupting their piece?
And it's funny because I've had so many times over the years where I've had promoters turn around to me and say, "Oh, you can be in the back. You can be in the back. You can, you're more than welcome to come back there. You're one of us. You're good to go." And even doing the show this many years later, I still refuse to go into the back for the specific reason of I have not earned that responsibility or that honor to go back there. I have no reason to be back there. And that's for the wrestlers. It's for, your ring announcers, all that stuff. That's not for somebody like me.
Right.
But let's get to the other comment here from Mr. Peterson, who says, and I quote, "And the Krule situation was absolutely disgusting. Long story short, the guy stabbed Krule in the abdomen during intermission, and the video of the aftermath was the result. Plus, the show when it happened was the promotion's final ever event."
Not the promotion's fault.
But hold on, I just want to read.
No, he's saying that it was the promotion's final ever event.
It's not their fault.
No,
I mean, this was all started by the fan. I think you got to go way back before this stabbing even happened. He was already talking trash to Krule at the merch table, and he said to the guy, "I'm not going to pay for all your,"
But my question,
it started there, and it started in the entrance when he came out.
My
was
question,
just being provoked.
No, I agree with you, but my thing is this though: if you're gonna pick a fight with anybody,
why would you pick a fight with Krule?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, I'll admit this right now. I've done my fair share of dumb things over the last couple of years. But I think between myself, Ray, and Jay, and everybody who's watching, at least I think the one thing we all have in common is none of us would pick a fight with freaking Krule.
That's like picking a fight with PCO, Harley Race, Haku. I mean, anybody who is labeled a locker room leader. It's mind-boggling. It's astounding. And it just seems like this week wasn't exactly the best. This weekend wasn't exactly the best weekend for wrestling.
No.
And I say that because, moving on from the Krule situation, even though it was handled a million times better than what we saw in the OVW show, we still have to talk about the errant kick that caught Macklin flush in the jaw and just so happened to have hit the reset button for him. You can tell as soon as he gets kicked, when he falls back into the ropes, he's already in a fenced position, right? He's that's when your arms and your whole body your extremities are stiff. That's why when he fell into the ropes and fell down, it looked very awkward, very weird, because he had no control. His body locked up. I cannot remember the referee's name. I had it written down here, and I threw my notepad when the announcement was made. But the TNA referee did a fantastic job. She was assessing Macklin first by keeping Mike away, Mike Santana, and then Santana still thinks that Macklin is selling. So he goes over there. He puts a hand on him as if he's going to help him up. The ref steps in, pushes him away. I'm not entirely sure what she said. It was something quick. And Santana goes back off to the corner. and stays there. And when he stays there, the medical team comes in. That's how situations like that should be handled. You shouldn't have your competitors grabbing a limp, lifeless body and moving it out of the fucking way so that they can get their shit in. Fuck, 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 fuck. Now we've earned our rating.
I'm just gonna say this much though. I didn't get a chance to see Sacrifice as a whole. I did see that moment though, and I agree. I give her a lot of credit for jumping in there when she did and stopping it from it potentially getting worse. Because that could have been, especially when you're concussed like that, you don't really know where you are per se.
Mm-hmm.
That could have ended much worse. So the fact that they did that, I give them all the credit in the world. Yeah, so I think eventually once Macklin gets better and he passes the concussion protocols, I guarantee you we're going to see them revisit this.
Oh, it's a fantastic feud. This shouldn't. It's a feud that should not end this way.
No, I know, right now. No, go ahead.
And going along the lines of what we're talking about, you remember the pay-per-view when it was Enzo and Cass versus the Vaudevillains?
Was that Payback?
It was. I think it was. Was it Payback?
No, it was a PLE.
It was a PLE. I can't remember if it was Payback. It was one of the stupid named ones. It was either Payback or Over the Limit or something.
I think it was Payback. I think it was right after Mania.
It might have been. And, he hits the rope. He goes to slide under the rope, but his head wasn't down far enough. Fucking knocks himself out, right? The one thing that I will never forget from that match, Payback 2016 in Chicago. Thank you, Ryan Peterson. The one thing that I will never forget is Enzo is fucking gone. Like, his soul is not in his body. Gotch comes out, lifts him up by the hair as the referee is yelling at him to put him down. I bring that up because it's not just a small promotion or an independent promotion issue. And I know that we're talking about something from 10 years ago, but it still happens on the biggest stages. And this should prove to you even more that OVW's handling of the situation was absolute dog shit. And as far as I'm concerned, OVW is a dog shit promotion run by dog shit management. I'm sorry.
I was, if you want to hear our reaction to that, definitely go back to the show from 2 weeks ago where we dove into that for, I think, a solid like hour.
We did
on that. And the only part I will agree with you, and I said this 2 weeks ago, and this still doesn't make sense to me, is the fact that Al Snow, who runs OVW, who was in WWE when Owen Hart died, you would think somebody who's of Al Snow, yes, Joseph, you would think somebody like Al Snow who's experienced death in a wrestling ring would make sure that he has the right medical personnel at the company he runs. But again, guys, if you want to go back, definitely go back. Not only can you watch it, by the way, folks, on YouTube or Facebook, I also have to mention, you can also listen to the show as well. Because that show is up on our Spotify page, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, it's there as well. So if you want to go listen to that, we definitely went into that for a while though. But I mean, I know with what's his face, with Santana now, he has turned his attention to Rebellion, which is April 11th, as he takes on Eddie Edwards, or as I'm calling it, they shouldn't call it Rebellion that night. It should be the night that the system runs TNA.
I mean, it could be that way. Do we know when Mike's contract is up with TNA? Because I'm telling you, it is. Once that contract is up, it is only a matter of time before you see that man on a WWE screen.
Oh, I
don't think you're going to see him on NXT at all.
No, I would say you're going to see him. And the other one I would expect is Leon Slater.
Yeah. But I can see Slater going to AEW because his style fits more. His style fits in more with AEW style, right? They're not gonna, if they bring him in, they're not gonna put him on the main roster because he's too much like Javon Evans.
Yeah.
You know, Javon Evans, by the way, who is getting a WrestleMania match.
Yeah. I want to get into that as well because I found out, even though I was at Raw last night, and they didn't now, I read somewhere today that they were using the results from the main event to determine who got into that match. I want to touch on that because there's some guys who are in the match who I'm sitting there going,
why?
So you want a match on main event so you get them in the title match?
Like, listen, Linda, listen. Where in the flying fuck is Carmelo Hayes on the WrestleMania card? Do you know where he is, John? I don't know where he is. Do you know where he is?
He's coming.
Oh, okay. Sorry, didn't realize we were talking about Veer Mahan again. Good God. Why do you have Rusev in this match? You have one of the best talents that has been one of your best champions in the last 6 months. You had him lose on a random fucking SmackDown to Sami Zayn, who, this makes no sense. No sense. Sami Zayn is over here for months bitching that Cody Rhodes, stole his opportunity at an Elimination Chamber. Title shot, world title shot. That's all he fucking says for 3 fucking months. And all of a sudden he wins the US title?
Crybabies.
That makes about as much sense as the 3-titty broad from fucking Total Recall. I fucking can't.
I will.
Ryan Peterson said, Veer is coming again? Is he coming harder than before? I hope it's cleaner than before. Joseph says, Hayes should be in WrestleMania, but since they want Hayes versus Trick this summer, that's fine. You want to make that a summer feud? You can. But you could have done it the way that you made the feud, the way that you made Dragunov and Hayes a winter feud, if you will. Like, it is so absolutely infuriating.
Oh, that might be why I just saw the comment here that Ryan said. This might answer your question about where Hayes is and why he's not at Mania.
Oh.
Who?
Sorry.
Stop touching it! And as for Carmelo, him and Kalani are getting married Mania weekend.
Okay. I still have him in Mania, so.
I mean, shit, if people can get fired on their wedding day from WWE, why can't they fucking participate at WrestleMania on their wedding weekend?
Have the wedding at WrestleMania.
I mean, match made in heaven, match made in hell, right? You had Mach and Elizabeth get married. You had Sid and Hogan fight.
Yeah, but guys, we're going to get into Monday Night Raw because obviously a lot happened last night. And we're going to also get into what we're going to be seeing in a couple of weeks at WrestleMania. We're also going to touch on a little bit about TNA Rebellion coming up because there is a 6-woman tag match that I definitely want to touch on.
Yes, absolutely, Ryan. Ryan says Mello showing up in his wedding tux, straight a la Rick Rude 1987 Slammy Awards.
Why not? Trick shows up in his lemon pepper steppers.
Right?
Guys, we're going to have, remember last week, guys, we introduced a new segment on the show, The Moment of Zen.
Oh, yeah. Are you saying that we need a couple of those?
Well, apparently our esteemed Wizard of Wilson was bored this weekend.
Oh, Lord.
And he put quite a few of them in there. So we're going to have a moment of Zen. Then we're going to hear from our friends again over at Simply Greens. And then we'll come right back. We'll talk some WrestleMania. And I will give you guys my thoughts of being at the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden, So, guys, if you would, please indulge me. Here is a moment of Zen.
I'm better than you, and you know it.
Here's a word from our sponsors.
At Simply Green, we believe in the power of nature to bring balance, relaxation, and well-being. As a premium THC brand, our mission is to provide high-quality, responsibly sourced products that enhance your lifestyle. Whether you're seeking relaxation, creativity, or wellness support, we curate a selection of top-tier THC to suit your needs. Rooted in trust and transparency, we are committed to delivering safe, lab-tested products while fostering a community that embraces education and responsible use. Simply Green is more than just a brand. It's a movement for a greener, more mindful future. Call 631-846-6060 to order or visit our location in Coram, New York. For use only by adults 21 years of age and older. Keep out of reach of children and pets. Please consume responsibly. Cannabis is not recommended for use by persons who are pregnant or nursing. Concerned about your cannabis use? Contact the New York State HIPAA line by texting HOPE-NY, calling 1-877-8, HOPE-NY, or visiting oasisny.gov/HOPE.
We're back here on the Wrestlemania Radio Show. So, yeah, what do you guys think of that moment of Zen?
He's such a dick.
Very fun.
I get it.
Once again, the Wizard of Wilson has once again shown his intuitiveness, his creativity.
Yes. And also, it's funny, we were saying before regards to the announcement, obviously, the three of us are on here every week.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have to, there's also a fourth person we do have to thank as well. There's a fourth person who needs to get the credit like we have.
Mm-hmm.
And that is Kevin Wilson. Because, yes, he's been on here a couple of times since he's come back.
Mm-hmm.
But if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have these moment of Zens. We wouldn't have the fantastic intro that we have.
Or the fantastic outro.
Or any of the graphical stuff, like the TVMA thing on the bottom. That's all him. So, guys, again, I want to give Wilson, I want to give Wilson his own corner. Oh, wait, we do already.
Our local creative wizard.
Yes, but he also gets a lot of the credit. Obviously, when we do our final thoughts later, I'll do a little bit more of a detailed thing about thanking certain people. But I want to touch on Monday Night Raw from last night, which was live from the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say one thing: merchandise is expensive.
Bro, welcome to 2026. Living is expensive.
Yeah, a T-shirt, or they had a couple T-shirts.
$65.
Huh?
$65?
Yeah, about.
Fucking ridiculous.
It's insane. We got to the arena yesterday. Now it was myself, Ryan Peterson, his girlfriend, and my girlfriend, Amanda.
Let's see, you double dated, huh?
Yeah.
You dated doubled?
We got there. We found a very nice pizza place right across the street. I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. If Ryan can remember it, I don't know if he's still here. Definitely leave it in the comments below because definitely want to give him a shout out. It's probably some of the best. We had garlic knots.
Mm-hmm.
Not the stale crap you get at certain pizza places. This is actual garlic knots, you were coated in them. We get to the arena and just being in the arena, being in that building for this show.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I'll never forget. And where we were sitting, our seats weren't down that low. We were all the way up in the heavens, so to speak. I was closer to the famous, if you guys have seen the Garden, that famous ceiling thing with I was closer to that than the floor. But just being there was
You mean to tell me you couldn't shell out $4,000 per ticket to sit on in the front row with green shirt guy?
No, I'm good in that department.
He's back.
But
by the way, green shirt guy looking pretty slim compared to the last time we seen him.
yes,
He's back.
He's out green shirt medium guy. But they filmed main event, which, by the way, do you guys know that I'm asking a serious question here? Where do they air main event now?
Fuck if I know. I think it might be on their YouTube channel. I don't know. I honestly do not.
The matches were good. It was the first match was Javon Evans versus one of the guys from Los Americanos. I don't remember which one.
From what? For one of the guys from who?
Los Americanos.
Oh, okay.
Decent match. I mean, Javon is over. I'll say this for right now. Javon is over. Then you had Otis versus Rusev. And literally, I was sitting there, Ryan Peterson and I were sitting there, we're like, they're still with the company?
Well, we knew Rusev was because, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago before the whole Brock thing happened? He had I thought he was going to have a pretty decent run with Oba.
Yeah.
Oba stuffed that. Like, literally stuffed him.
And it became to the point with main event. For some of them, it became they're still with the company.
Wow.
So yeah, Rusev and Otis, good match. Then the show started. Then you had obviously Corey Graves and Michael Cole coming out, great reaction. Then the show started, and we're there going, okay, so who's gonna open up? Who's gonna open up? And we didn't think it was gonna be Cody Rhodes. That crowd. First of all, that whoa, how they always do the whoa, thing. And every time you ever see that, you always get the TikTok people who are like, "Oh, let's rate this one. Let's rate this one."
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the best ones I've heard. I'm not just saying that because I was there.
Were you part of the win?
Yeah, no, I was definitely part of it. I was definitely a part of it. Cody came out. Obviously, it was his, and we're sitting there going, like, it didn't make sense to us. Like, Cody's on SmackDown.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either. Like, the show opens up with a SmackDown champion.
Unless the mentality is you're this close to media, if you're the champion, and you're talking about Madison Square Garden, a building that one thing Cody did say, that's the building that gave birth to the WWE Championship. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I get that, but I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't think I wasn't a fan of the entire segment. Stephanie come out essentially trying to re-jam down our throats that Cody is the underdog, even though he's the champion. Well, and has the champion's advantage. How are you the underdog? You literally do not have to beat anybody. You could lay your ass under the ring for a 10 count and win. And still have your title. I don't understand how we're trying to portray Cody as the underdog champion. Newsflash, TKO, WWE, nobody wants him as the fucking champion. Nobody wanted him as the champion before you put the title on him. Everybody was quite happy with Randy v. Drew.
Yeah. Oh, especially when Stephanie came out and the crowd started chanting, "We want Randy."
I thought because they bleeped a lot of that out. I thought they were saying "fuck you, Cody."
No, but the funnier
which would have
part,
been fine.
Well, the funnier part was when Stephanie comes out and Cody goes, "I'm surprised to see you here," and you see the entire crowd's like mid, like they don't know what to do next.
Yeah,
yeah, we're sitting there going, "Stephanie's here."
And then he hit her with the, "Well, you're not your father either." The crowd was just like, "Ooh."
Yeah, and by the way, I do have to give a shout out because Ryan Peterson did start some of those chants, by the way.
Nice. You should have started a "fuck you, Cody."
No, especially the holy shit one with with Brock and Oba. That was started from Ryan. So you had that segment. It was okay. It wasn't really anything to write home on. I want to touch on quickly the tag title.
Time out. Before we go any farther, I feel that it is well deserved and necessary to give our own Jay his flowers, because last week on the show we had talked about, specifically Jay had talked about how McIntyre Fatu needed something.
Absolutely.
Needed a stipulation, needed a good stipulation, like a last man standing. Well, on Friday at SmackDown, it was announced that Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu in an unsanctioned match, which essentially, for all intents and purposes, is a much darker last man standing, because you know that they're going to dim the lights because of it being unsanctioned. So they're only going to put the cheap lights on, and like they do with all unsanctioned matches, and let those two boys just go at it. So Jay, you were absolutely right. I think that is a very good stipulation. Kudos to you for calling that out.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It was a nice build Friday. I can't wait for that match, to be honest.
One of the non-main event caliber matches that is actually getting a seriously good build.
Yep.
It's funny, we talk about, and we'll get into it in a little bit, with Oba and Brock being the unofficial main event. You can make the argument that for SmackDown, that it's Drew and Jacob.
Oh, absolutely. That's literally what it is. Those are the two main events that are not announced as the main event.
Yeah. And I'm also curious to see, and obviously, you know, with Mania, you do have that first hour on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
What matches are they going to put on ESPN? Could we potentially see Cody and Orton maybe open up?
So here's the thing. Undertaker and Bully Ray have all said when Brock is on the card, Brock likes to go out there, get his match done, have his steak, fly back home. All as quickly as possible. So whatever night they put Brock and Oba on, I expect that match to be early in the card, if not the opening match for the card.
I can see that, but what about that idea, though? Cody and Orton.
I mean, it wouldn't be unheard of. I think that is a hell of a way. If you're going to have Cody and Orton, which you could probably argue at this point has a better following, I don't want to say better build-up, but kind of a better build-up, because you have more people invested in Randy than the build-up that we see with Punk and Roman, which kind of just doesn't, like, there are weeks where it works, there are weeks that it doesn't. Whereas with the Cody and Drew build-up, the Cody and Randy build-up, it's kind of been pretty steady, that everything's kind of worked the right way. If you're going to have that match open any night of WrestleMania, then you better make damn well that every match that follows it is better.
I heard that 100%. Let's get some of the comments here before we continue going over what happened last night on Monday Night Raw. And we'll start with David here saying, consider a few of us were skeptical about the Mania card. It's actually shaping up pretty well. Isn't a bad card so far. We'll definitely look over the whole card in a little bit here. And then Costa actually chimes in here and goes, that's because Jacob is the absolute best.
You know what I mean?
And then Joseph says, I hope Drew and Jacob fight for two night. They never end fighting. When the night 2 comes out, we still see Drew and Jacob fight.
I mean, that would be.
I don't mind it.
I mean, it goes on like it's like the pre-main event, and they just start fighting. It's we think it's declared no contest, and then night 2 opens up with them still fighting. That would be, I mean, that would be hilarious, actually.
The card is fire. You gotta be kidding.
Well, I mean, listen, I wouldn't say it's fire, but it is fairly decent considering the fact that there's no build-up.
What?
You have the unsanctioned match with Drew and Fatu.
That's
you have
one.
your championship matches. You
I
have
don't
Lesnar and Femi.
I care.
The IC ladder match. Those are the ones you can't sleep on.
Those are the ones that you have to open up either night 1 or night 2 with.
That would be a great opener.
That's what
Absolutely.
you have to do.
I mean, you've got Penta and Dragon Lee and Javon Evans. Those 3 alone. The other 2, meh.
Which can we touch on that quickly before we go further?
Shoot.
They announced that, obviously, Ray, if you don't mind going over everybody who's in the IC.
Yeah. So the championship ladder match, you have Penta the champion versus Dragon Lee versus Javon Evans versus Rusev and the Irish Ace himself.
So now Javon in there, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Lee, hopefully somebody doesn't take him out, because if you remember, he was supposed to be WrestleMania 40, and he was taken out prior to that. The only 2 that make no sense to me at all
are Rusev and McDonough.
Yeah, the reason for it is, well, we used their matches from main event those were qualifying matches. I'm like, first of all, I didn't hear anything about it being announced as these are the qualifying matches for the IC title.
BS.
Match. And here's another thing. Instead of putting a JD McDonough in there or putting a Rusev in there, who, let's be honest, have done nothing.
Well, I will give McDonough, my ear is sweaty, sorry. I need new silicone tips for my earbuds. I will give McDonough a pass because he just came back from injury. So, okay, you want to put him in that match? Fine. Rusev makes 0 sense to me. Rusev in this match makes about as much sense as Ric Flair in one of the Money in the Bank WrestleMania ladder matches. Where everything that happened to him, you thought was going to literally kill him.
You know who I would love to have seen in that situation instead of Rusev? Cardona.
Yeah, okay.
How about that? I mean,
so here's the thing. Cardona just had his ass. Thank you for bringing up Cardona, by the way, because you have Cardona getting his ass kicked twice, 2 weeks in a row, a broken hand, and we have Cardona injured going up against Randy, right? Why in the absolute fuck do we not acknowledge the fact that him and Chelsea are married? Like, WWE still refuses to acknowledge the fact that the 2 of them are married. Like, you should have had Chelsea being in his corner. You should have had Chelsea being, if you didn't want her in his corner, fine. You could have had her being worried or at the very least preoccupied, and have Alba Fire ask her what's wrong. Is everything okay? I don't know, man. I just feel like that's just dumb, lazy, and stupid.
Sounds like NXT booking.
And the thing is also this: Cardona and Chelsea are probably 2 of the most over people that are on that roster.
Yes.
I mean, Chelsea's making the most right now of her injury, and it's been at least 2-3 months since she's been in the ring?
2 months.
Yeah, about 2 months.
So you can't turn around and tell me that they're not doing something with her.
It's because everything she does is so goddamn good.
So what's going to happen is when she does eventually win the title, it's going to be that much bigger of a moment. Because especially, let's pull back. I'll put it this way. Let's say she does win the title, okay? And she's doing this whole Karen gimmick that she's been doing. I mean,
it's not really a Karen gimmick, but we'll let the description slide.
I mean, just think about it this way: when also it comes time to her wanting to, have somebody challenge her for the title. No. I want to speak to your manager first before we do that. If somebody like Chelsea could get that over.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But I think they could have gone quicker, especially the fact it was 10 years ago. I don't know if you guys remember when they had the last IC title ladder match at WrestleMania 32.
Mm-hmm.
And who was in the match at that time?
Ryder.
So it would have been very apropos to have Ryder be in the match. But here's the deal: it's his first WrestleMania where he's not Zack Ryder.
Yeah.
So we'll be very curious to see how that all plays out. But I want to touch briefly on the tag title matchup we saw last night on Monday Night Raw.
Oh, good. I'm glad you want to because, like, I
called it. I called it.
Here's what I don't understand.
It's not so much for me. It's not so much the tag team match. It's the WrestleMania implications that we already saw starting to form. Like, you really could not have thought of anything better for LA Knight other than to throw him with the Usos in a 6-man at WrestleMania with the Vision and I Show Speed. Like, you already know we're getting a Jelly Roll Kit Wilson match on one of the nights. So the other night is going to be,
It couldn't get Brady. The deal is over.
It's infuriating.
It is over.
I'm pretty sure the NFL has so many sanctions on that man.
You got to understand, Brady works for Fox, and we used to work for Fox too in WWE.
Yeah, so Brady works for Fox, but the sanctions that the NFL has put on him as to what he can and can't say, like when he's on broadcast, he can't criticize any calls that the officials make because he is a part owner of the Raiders, and like there's like this whole fucking list. So I wasn't expecting him to do anything physical whatsoever. Could he be in attendance and fuck with Logan Paul from there? Absolutely. But I never once thought that he would be getting in.
Honestly, I think we're missing the bigger news. I think the biggest thing that WrestleMania is going to be truly epic is the host, John Cena. That I am excited.
Right. Announced as your WrestleMania 42 host.
Which, by the way, I do have to give a shout out quickly for that to the ATR Nation, because we posted that story on our Facebook page on Monday, I think. Yeah, earlier Monday when they announced it.
Mm-hmm.
Within 2 hours. And for people who are listening to us, yes, I am putting the number 2 up right now. Within 2 hours, that got over 1,000 views on our Facebook page.
Nice.
As of now, I'm going to look right now to see where it stands because, like I said, when I posted it, it shot through the freaking roof.
And everybody, we post the exclusive news. So you got to like us, you got to hit the subscribe, you got to follow us everywhere.
Oh, wow, it's funny. We're talking about the match with the Usos.
Yeah.
And I happened to go to Facebook for a second and FW4 Online, which I think is Meltzer.
Yeah.
Turned around and said, breaking news, WWE is reportedly planning a huge 6-man tag team match at WrestleMania 42. It was noted that the Usos and LA Knight are expected to face the Vision and I Show Speed.
The disrespect of the tag team championship for men. The disrespect. I have never seen the tag team being defended. It should be defended at WrestleMania, for God's sake.
All titles should be defended at WrestleMania.
But especially the tag team.
How can you have the
most important
to not have any fucking champions on?
You see how we and Ray in agreement? It's the tag team is the most important. I can't wait for Bobby Fish to just hear this. Hey, Bobby, do you know that this year's WrestleMania, the men's tag team championship will not be defended?
It's actually funny, Jay, you brought that up because, again, I want to just remind our fans this.
The Undisputed Hour with Bobby Fish premieres on April 7th at 9 p.m. Only on the Around the Ropes radio show.
Awesome. Wish I could do my beard.
That's coming up next week. So that's going to be kind of cool to have him on. But here's what I'm failing to get, though, okay? why do this title change so close to Mania?
And then not have the titles defended
Offended.
in a rematch.
Well, the only thing I could think of as far as why the Usos, and I said this last night to a few people, could it be that the Usos got taken out, drop the titles, because they're going to become part of this whole Roman Punk thing? And instead of having them doing both, everyone wants them just to focus on Roman and Punk. So that's why I guess they took the titles off of them?
I have a lot of reasons, but I'll let you guys shoot first.
I don't listen. You don't invest in a new theme song for a tag team that you're not going to have.
I didn't even like it.
I
didn't like it. It was like, ugh.
It was. I mean,
I didn't pop. John, did you pop when you heard the new Usos new theme?
Well, no, because
John, did you realize that the Usos even had a new theme?
No.
He's like, no. Well, no.
I mean, I will say one thing though. Vision definitely are not liked. That's without a doubt. And I love the part, by the way, when Mama Logan Paul gave Logan Paul the brass knuckles.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
yeah, that was
you had to hate when he grabbed I Show Speed, and you could automatically tell like this guy was doing absolutely nothing, and he's just grabbing him to get into it. That was just the killer.
I made the comment to Ryan.
Turned off.
I said he should have changed his name. Instead of I Show Speed, it should have been I Show My Ass Out the Door, because I screwed up.
Yeah, he screwed up big time. Super big time.
We actually have a surprise guest joining us.
okay.
He happens to be the executive director of the Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame. And I want to welcome to the show for our first time ever, Jimmy Harris. Jimmy, welcome to the show.
What's going on, guys?
Yes.
You guys hear me okay?
Hear you perfectly fine, Jimmy.
Absolute
Awesome.
honor, sir.
All right, I was a little late getting on. Work has not been fun for me.
Same.
I totally get that. But, Jimmy, obviously we made the announcement earlier tonight that we are the official media partner now with you guys. Just want to hear your thoughts on this.
I think it's amazing. Guys, shout out to Luke Roberts. What a hell of a guy. I mean, he's really knows what he's doing, knows the people, keeps us hooked up correctly on media. I can't say enough about the guy. And to go out there and get sponsors and groups and stuff like that, I mean, it's amazing. And I think it's going to be a great partnership with us and you guys. I think it should be awesome.
We said it before. All three of us are looking forward to this.
Absolutely. Well, 4 if you count the Wizard of Wilson.
Yes.
Wizard of Wilson.
Well, I mean, it's an amazing group of guys I got, and ladies. Let me get the ladies in there. I don't want to get in trouble. They're kind of my ladies are kind of mean. They're all wrestlers, so they're kind of mean. So I got to be polite, but
nowhere to run.
Amazing group of people. I got a great board of directors. When I started this, it was just me, myself, and I, and but they come along and help me, and every year it just gets better and better.
Ray, Jay. Well, I'll throw it to Ray first. Do you have anything?
We don't.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. I'm sorry, Ray, to cut you off, but I gotta say, happy early 8-year anniversary for St. Louis Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame. I think that's the big thing we're all missing here, guys. So I personally, Jay, want to say that, Jimmy, you must be truly proud of how this all came into fruition since it started in 2018. Talk to us how you feel at this moment.
There's days it got rough and rocky and thinking, man, is this really going to work? Am I going to make this work? And then COVID came along and it kind of made it really tough, but we still managed to get it done. Still got people put in, and still was able to get them onto like a podcast for them to accept the flax and everything. So, and gave them a chance, to give them a platform to talk about their experiences and stuff. And then the more when I did that with COVID, I think that's what really pushed me into doing the way we're doing it now, was because I saw how important it was for those folks to get say what they had to say to everybody, and everybody get a chance to understand who they were, what their background was, and the different things that they have done for the community as well as for wrestling. And then when you see how it attaches to their hearts, you see them crying and thankful that they're being recognized and their achievements did not go by the wayside. And I think my thing was that I wanted to make it special for every single one of those people. And that's the praise we're getting right now, is because we were able to bring together groups that wouldn't even talk to each other. So the Hall of Fame is a neutral Hall of Fame, which means everybody is welcome. Everybody has their place and everybody has their right to be there and talk about the wonderful talent that they had and worked with. And that's a platform. It's always going to stay that way, or as long as I can say it does.
I get what you're saying. Just kind of piggyback off what Jay said. You guys are, it is the anniversary for you guys coming up. It's been 8 years. Talk to us about, when you guys first started this 8 years ago. Could you envision 8 years ago that it would have turned into what it's become now?
No, honestly, I didn't. I was thinking, man, it's not going to go nowhere. And some days you struggle and think, man, how am I going to make this work? And then I decided, when we got this board together, things started working better. And, board members have changed, come and gone. And the group I got now is pretty steady. But 8 years ago, I was paying out of pocket and just praying, something would happen that we could make this happen. And I didn't want to quit because, like I said, when I saw how they were acting emotionally and seeing that we went out of our way to do this for them, and now they're getting a meal, not during a wrestling show. It's all about them and not to take anything away from them. And I think that's what keeps me going. And I got to say how amazing it was. No, 8 years ago, I thought this was going to be dead and done in a couple of years, honestly. But then when I saw the interest and I saw people popping up, and then we were vetting people, and I'm not putting people in just to put them in. We're putting them in because they're vetted. They have backgrounds, they got histories, and they are retired. You must be retired. And if you go back and do another show, then the board can get together and say, hey, you took yourself out of retirement, you may come out of the hall. Because we stand strong on our rules and what we say, because this is about the guys that gave everything and can't do it anymore.
Completely understand where you're coming from.
Can you talk a little bit more about your vetting process and the criteria for putting someone up for the Hall of Fame and then ultimately getting them approved?
Yeah, the rule is you got to be out of wrestling for a year. Out of ring competition. And then we have our historians. We got several people that are good historians that know wrestling. Luke is a big part of it. Moondog Rover knows a lot of these guys. I got Big Bad Ben. Well, not Big Bad Ben, but Crazy Gennaro. He's a madman. But the man has history. He knows history. He knows everything behind him. And then we got other ways. We're actually putting together a committee that's just for that purpose of vetting people that are coming up that are wanting to be in the hall or we think should be in the hall. And it's a whole process. So, we will reach out to guys like Ben, Simon, Patrick, Brandon Meyer, guys like that. Those guys know history. They know wrestling. They know groups. They go to all the multiple shows or worked in multiple shows. And, I got some background. I've been doing this for since like 1985. So I've been around the block once or twice. And so we research all that. And we go in and we look at data and information that's given to us from different sources. And wrestling magazines, we even pull up stuff and look at, like that guy's going like Johnny Ramirez. I mean, look at the history of that guy. Like you say, he can't be in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
He should have been in a long time ago. I mean, this guy's got a huge history. So that's what we do. We do research. We do Google searches. We do YouTube searches. Just people reaching out to us with history, background, newspapers, articles. We do a whole routine on them before they even get into the hall.
Well, Jimmy, let me ask you this one. How far in advance do you start working on the next class? Like, I think you guys have the induction ceremony this July. When do you start working on the class of 2027?
It's already working.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Once I got the one class announced, I'm already looking at the next class. So sooner we get names in, the sooner we get them vetted and take a look at. And we're putting together a new committee, and that's all they're going to do is the vetting process and who should be in the Hall of Fame, and then present it to the board, and then the board would decide who they're going to put in or not put in for the next year. So we already got names popping already for next year already.
One more question I have, though, like we see in baseball, you're on the Hall of Fame, you're mentioned for at least 10 years before they officially take you off. Is there a certain time frame where wrestlers can be brought up to you guys to be inducted before eventually it's like, okay, maybe we don't bring them in?
Well, again, it goes back to you got to be out of ring action for over a year.
Okay.
For us to even look at you. And then once we're looking at you, we're looking at how long have you been involved in wrestling and where have you worked and all the areas that you have worked. It's not just one group. A lot of times if I got a guy that worked one spot and didn't work all the different shows or something, then you got to take into consideration of length, time, and what did they do to help with the community. One of the things I was proud of when I stopped in ring action and I started doing like bookings, and I was I had to come up with a plan to get people in there, right? So when I came commissioner, my thing was every year I was collecting teddy bears from the fans. I had fans bring teddy bears in. So then with the teddy bears, when we got them all in, which we ended up with like 5-6 huge 55-gallon bags of teddy bears, we would take them to all the local municipalities for the police department, fire department, EMS units. And the idea was to give them to them so when they come on a crime scene or an incident and there are children involved and they had something to give to that child for that traumatic experience that they were going through at that time. So, it's part of what do you give back to the community? The community has supported us to do what we enjoy doing, not what we're doing to give back to them. So we did Toys for Tots and all that kind of stuff. And we see one of our wrestlers down, we try to do some local stuff to help raise money to help them out and stuff like that. So that's a part of what we look at too as a person. You got to be out of the ring for over a year to even get looked at. And then you may not get in right away. There's other people who are going to be ahead of you probably.
Right.
We look at all that type of stuff. And again, there's a whole lot of huge talent out there that's really overdue.
Actually, Jimmy, we actually have a fan question, but not through YouTube. It's actually my father who has a question.
If someone doesn't get in on the first shot, is there a time frame that they have to wait to get renominated again?
Absolutely not. No, it can be considered for the very next one.
Okay, what's the criteria?
Again, you have to be out of the ring business after over a year. We're looking at 10 years or more of wrestling background experience, different locations, groups that you work with, and then what have you given back to the community. If you go to our webpage, it has all the criteria on there. There's like 8 or 9 things that you have to hit to get on the list. So, but
you want an all-around person in and not just someone who's good in the ring.
Yeah, all-around person. We do. I do managers. I do referees. We got ring valets, all that kind of stuff. So that's where the Pete Parisi Award comes in. Pete Parisi Award he was the guy when I started in business. He's the first ones that got us on cable TV with the Wild World of Wrestling, and he was the guy that did all that work. He did the editing, did the videotaping. He got a couple guys helping him out, and he was the ones that got us on TV right off the bat. We were on. That's when it was hard to get cable TV back in those days, and Pete had us on cable TV, and so Pete Parisi Award is that guy. All those guys in the background, all those guys that busted their butts to get a show done, get the show up and run and get it done. We even have my Jerry Bullion Award, which is for the super fans that are there that goes to almost every show you ever see. Jerry went to about every show you ever saw, so it was amazing.
Jimmy, earlier in the conversation, you had said that when you first started, it was during COVID played a big part in helping you or realize that you wanted this to continue. You said that you had were able to bring, parties that don't really see eye to eye. You were able to get them together, to get them to start talking. How does it make you feel when going into like the class of 2026? I believe Luke said he was probably going to have a representative from each independent organization. Going from people not wanting to talk to having a representative from each organization, how does that make you feel as the person who started this?
Makes me feel awesome because I've worked with a couple of groups, and I've seen how the territorial things work, and I see how it's a back and forth. You can't work here if you want to work with me there, and I've seen all those things. And in order to bring a group together like we have now, even a lot of them are sponsors now. They even paid to have their banner flown during the hall. That speaks a whole lot and makes me feel amazing. It's something I dreamt of doing and didn't think it was going to happen, but then I keep swinging away at it and kept working at it. And slowly but surely, every year, a little bit more coming. And every year, they even tell me how great it was. So it makes me feel awesome.
Jimmy, like I said, I'm ecstatic for all this tonight. Guys, again, in case you missed it, let me just put up one more time the announcement. If I have it right here, yes, I do. The Around the Ropes Radio Show is now the official media partner for the Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame in St. Louis, Missouri. Jimmy, I appreciate you coming on. It means a lot. Definitely want to get you back on again for more of like a long form interview.
Absolutely. I will do my best to get back here with you guys and get that to you.
Absolutely appreciate that. We will react right after this, and we'll get back into some more Raw section about Raw. You are watching or listening to the Round of Video Show. We'll be right back right after this. Figured I would give you guys that old classic again.
I forgot how much I love that song.
Bang, bang.
Guys, quick reaction to having Jimmy on. What do you guys think?
That was unexpected. It was nice to hear him talk about the inception, the execution, how he was able to pivot when COVID reared its ugly head, and how he was able to essentially be a peacekeeper. I'm not sure if that's the right term, but where he was able to start with parties that did not want anything to do with each other to now having at least one representative from every organization in St. Louis independent wrestling at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
Yeah, it was, and we might actually have some more news coming out soon, because while we were in that commercial break, I was speaking to Luke, which, by the way, he appreciates him. He said, thank you for having him on. But there's already been talk. There's already talk started about Around the Ropes actually doing something the weekend of the Hall of Fame.
Well, I'm excited now.
You're not going to want to miss that. But guys, you guys are looking forward to talking more about Monday Night Raw. Obviously, when we get a guest like that who comes in here, kind of have to pivot a little bit. Quickly, I just want to get you guys' thoughts. Want to talk quickly about the Oba Brock segment from last night. Jay, I'll throw it to you first. Quickly, what did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you not like it?
I thought it was executively well done. It was perfectly done. It set up Oba to be this huge face, big pop. I'm sure you were saying Oba too, John. You, Ryan, the girlfriends, I'm sure you were all chanting for it. But I thought it was perfectly done.
Jay, I'll put it this way. If we did, and thank God nobody took a video of it, Ryan and I, where we were standing, actually got out of our chairs and started doing the Oba Femi walk.
The strut. Oba.
Yeah.
Oba.
Thing. Oba Femi, and this is not me breaking the fourth wall here. This is not me with breaking news here. Oba Femi is over as hell.
Some might say he's over Femi. Listen, that was a John tier joke. Okay? Like, that was a John Blaine level joke. Bret Hart calls himself the excellence of execution. This build-up between Oba and Brock is excellence executed.
Yeah, and I completely agree.
Can't deny that.
I love the segment. I mean, the fact that you had Brock come out there, not in his jeans and t-shirt.
No, he was ready. He was ready to fight.
And I mean, let's say this. Like, we actually got Brock on the microphone. When was the last time you ever had
as
Brock
brief as it was, yes, we got Brock on the microphone. But see, that's the thing. That's all Brock ever really needs to say is enough talking. Bring your ass down here.
And also, rest in peace to all those security guards who had to make that trail.
Oh, some of them do. Like, okay, so the dude that Oba launched, I feel like the other two were supposed to catch him because he just landed hip first on the middle of the aisle. Nobody caught him.
And the funny thing is, the guy who Brock F5'd at the end is actually a wrestler from New Jersey.
What a pro.
I've seen him wrestle hundreds of times.
I mean, listen, I'm not gonna lie, that F5 looks stiff as fuck.
No, the one I popped.
He had the balls to go and do it. So I
the
agree.
one I popped for is the one security guard who Oba came down. He literally got him over his shoulders and threw him. I'm like,
That was great.
He's dead.
That was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the insurance premiums, the health insurance premiums must be at a why was Hunter out there for insurance?
Well, I
selling tickets.
Yeah, besides that. No, I don't think it's to set up something. I know there was one theory on Facebook that I saw that somebody said, "Oh, we must be getting, they must be thinking about doing the Authority again." No, I don't think so. I think it's simple the fact of this is a big match for them. You have the potential in making a star here. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, right? How many times have you and I had the argument already of, you either go over or you get over.
Yeah.
And Oba is over.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if he can get the win at Mania and get over on Brock, that's not bad. But I just think with what we saw last night, that's how you build a WrestleMania match. How many times have we seen Brock Lesnar in his almost 2-decade run in WWE wait that, whoever he was going up against made Brock Lesnar wait in the ring?
Right. How many times have we seen in Brock Lesnar's career him wanting to do anything with an unestablished superstar? And let's face it, as big of a star as Oba was in NXT, he is technically unestablished on the main roster. He's still new to people. We've always heard that Brock doesn't do things that he doesn't want to do. And if it's not going to make him money, he won't do it.
I think it also comes down to, it's like you said, though.
I'm sorry, money or sense. It has to make sense, and it has to make him money.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to, though. And I think somebody like Brock, who's been at this long enough, obviously sees something in Oba that he turned around to management, or he turned around to whoever, and said, let me work with the kid. I mean, I've saying this now for the better part of the last 5 years. WWE is at the point now they have to start creating new stars.
They're not, though.
You have that opportunity with certain wrestlers on this roster. But now is when you have to.
Not according to Jay.
You don't have to create stars. You guys just named the star earlier, Chelsea Green. You just got to utilize these people.
Yeah, but Jay, my reason is this.
Got to utilize.
Look at the main event right now, okay? And we can dive more into this next week. You look at the main event right now, okay? With guys like Roman and Punk and Randy. Those guys are all over the age of 40. Give it 10 years. None of them are going to be around anymore. For Christ's sakes, Gunther is in his 40s already.
Oh, I hate the booking that they put him in. Oh.
So, but realistically,
I got somewhere to go with that. Because originally I hated it, and then I thought about it, and now I need John to finish his thought so we can get to it.
I'll wrap it up with this. If you want to start building these guys up now, your Braun Breakers, your Oba Femis, and those guys who are going to be carrying this company for the next 20, 30 years, now is when you do it. Because if you wait too long, you're not going to have that opportunity.
Absolutely. Somebody else will come in and swipe that talent from you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Jay, I agree with you with the whole Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman, Gunther thing. Like, where the hell does Gunther, factor into all of this, right? But then if you stop and you think about it, who is Paul Heyman affiliated with besides the Vision? He's affiliated with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, however, has a match with Oba, so he's preoccupied. Is it really out of the realm of Paul Heyman to go, hey, Gunther, I know Seth Rollins is going to do something. Here's a fat stack of cash. Watch my back. On top of that fat stack of cash, what is Gunther's moniker right now?
Career killer.
The career killer. Is it also out of the realm of possibility for Paul Heyman to go, hey, I've got a career for you. You help me out with Seth. You can have a match with Brock. Career. You can have a career match with a retirement match with Brock. SummerSlam.
Should be a
without
writer.
telling Brock. Think about that.
I think about it, but it wasn't presented to me like that.
Well, it's not going to be
3
presented
months
to you
right now.
like that. You think they're going to tell you the entire
I
story?
have to be presented. You have to put him somewhere in the last 2-3 months, Gunther. It doesn't fit.
I gotta agree with Ray on this one. I think you have a story.
You're excited for WrestleMania, so of course you're gonna agree.
Jay, I would say it this way. Jay, I would say it this way.
You are invested.
You have a story here. And it makes sense what Ray is saying.
I get it, but it's fantasy.
Well, okay, here's my
I'm
thing.
sorry. Did you just say that that's fantasy as we sit here criticizing
It's not happening.
scripted show?
As much as I love Ray's idea, it's not going to happen.
That's
Yes,
the thing, Jay. We don't know what's going to happen.
I don't want to know. It's been so bad with him and the goons. I'm fully invested out of Seth freaking Rollins. I don't care who he faces. I don't care if the story was the way you put it. I am uninvested. And you guys got to admit, the last few weeks that this person's come out, it's ridiculous. It really is.
I disagree with you. I've been so
You disagree. So you think Seth Rollins is standing in the ring while all his stooges are getting beat up in front of him. He just stands there looking like an idiot.
Okay,
Because everybody understands he wasn't cleared for action.
Yeah, he wasn't cleared for action.
Give him a little shove, for God's sakes. He's walking, right? He's
can't.
jumping the ring, right? He's jumping from the fans in the ring.
Jay.
No, this is horrible. This is all horrible. I've seen Seth freaking Rollins versus Gunther for the championship many times.
All right, Jay.
I don't want to see it.
We're going to do a big moment of Zen, and we'll be right back. We'll get wrap up things here in 1 second.
This is bad.
I'm better than you, and you know it.
Guys, we got to wrap things up here now because it is after 10 o'clock. I want to thank Luke and Jimmy for both joining us tonight. Fantastic show. If you missed any of tonight's show, definitely go back to our YouTube page and our Facebook page for all, especially to hear the announcement again. And guys, like I said, next week, Bobby Fish joins us.
That's going to be huge.
We'll also have more talk about WrestleMania, and obviously we'll have some other stuff as well. But for everybody here, I'm John, and we will catch you guys next time.